Alright, we are saving. We're gonna save for chapter 18, over 18 again. I hope we get our points back, because going through this with 3, like, wrongs would be rough. 17th April, 12:41 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Sheena, how are you holding up? I'm starting to feel quite warmly towards her frequent cold shoulders now.
Jeannie! You alright? Why aren't you saying anything? What's the point, eh? Why go through all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me? What? Well, you saw it. A picture.
A picture.
Ah, you mean this? The photograph taken by Holly's red hand did record you. Yeah, I think it would have captured a scene like this, that's for sure. It's hopeless. Anyone who sees that's gonna think I did it, ain't they?
I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to the court.
Surely you've got to have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent.
Of course I can.
Jeannie, why didn't you do this? That's what really happened that night. Eh? I was company managed to piece together a lot of information, but still.
I mean, she was unconscious, so she might just not remember.
I'd like to hear it from you. Alright then. That's after we had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? But then we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we?
Yes, I remember. Also scratching my neck, sorry.
After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. So I slipped out and went down the street to the 2-to-1. And to Winterbank's place, and I had to know if Iris' story was
there or not? How did the Baskervilles?
Oh, it was about or nothing. If you ask me, it's something it shows alright. Something what he don't want people reading. That's why I told Iris about sticking it in love with Winterbeck for safekeeping. At least that's what I thought at the time.
So you broke into Winterbanks.
I just had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea what was going to kick off, did I? I shut the door and snuck inside. And as dark as you like in there, so I can do a level out to a bit of wit. And that's when...
What do you think you're doing?
I nearly died, I did. And the last thing I knew... I grabbed the cover off the car and was waving in the air like... Oh, what?
I was in here this afternoon. I heard the pickpockets went in for armed robbery.
The map was script. Have you got it here? It shows the papers with you. A story.
I beg your pardon?
How did that something like that? If it's there, I want to see it.
I'm sorry, young lady. But I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers.
I don't want it. Why is it with me? I just want to see if it's there, that's all.
Oh, I want to see it.
Oh, no, show's really fond of you, I'm not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go.
Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you?
Someone the old code unlocked the storeroom door and we both went inside. It was there, alright, a manuscript. Someone's weren't lying after all. You did all that just to check for me, Genie? Anyway, there was a bit of a kick-up. There was a bit of a kick-up up in the main bit of the shop. The Skulking Brothers arriving on the scene, yeah?
The Skulking Brothers arriving on the scene, yes. It switched names so readily.
What was that noise? Someone's breaking in!
Dear me, there's some burglars convention tonight that I don't know about.
I think I forgot to shut the door behind me, sorry.
I better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back?
Oh, well, I'll come with you.
Now don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances.
And with that, I took the gun out of my hands and went back out into the shop. I am back in the store, like you said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help, you see. So I was just about to go out in the store and set off when... I heard a couple of shots go off. 2, I think. Almost at the same time. And there he was, right at my feet, lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked quick as you like.
Because you thought whoever shot Mr. Windibank might come for you?
Yeah, so I grabbed the old cove's gun.
Okay, I had to make sure that was Rinosuke and not Iris.
I figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew. Windibank was a goner. I felt funny in my head all of a sudden, kinda dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing.
That must be when you passed out, Gina.
If I hadn't done what I done, I'll count myself alive.
Did you tell the police everything you just told us?
Of course I did, but they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All I said was if I kept telling lies, they'd make things even worse for me. You'll be alright, Jeannie, don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. I'm going to put the real culprit through the mill. I told what was there in the afternoon. And Benedict. I still remember how he looked at me like I was nothing. He was here that night.
We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty.
You what? You can leave it all in Reno's capable hands now, Jeannie. Mr. Naruto.
Yes?
How come you trust me? I don't get it.
I got really scared for a moment that I had forgotten to start recording again. Thank goodness, because it has been almost 10 minutes.
I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and Miss Gilded went through your back of the eyes. And you got the bug thrown off with him, even though he was a killer.
No, I could never forget that.
Oh.
I did what I thought was best at the time. But the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I don't know what I was about to say. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what.
But what if I'm right? You could be working to get another killer off the hook, for all you know.
I was once in your position, Gina. I was accused in a trial.
You were?
Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. I was strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I'm sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who'd done it. But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. My best friend. Ryonosuke, no one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me and I'll do the rest. I was so happy I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me, I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute, unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute, unwavering belief in him. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first.
What are you saying?
I promise you, Gina, no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down.
You know I'm a diver, and no good liar.
You're not like Gilded. I know that.
Eh? That's right, you're a fainting. Iris.
We know you better than you think. And we come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust.
Yes.
That's really all we need to know.
Exactly. Mr. Naruto, I...
Defendant Gina Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately. Yes, of course. Thank you. I've been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time, so I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith in you. This is it at last. The final chapter. The final battle. Wish me luck, Susato-san. And hope you're watching over me too. Partner. He could have said... we could have said Kazuma. 17th April, 1:41 p.m. at the Old Bailey courtroom. Still no autosave. Hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Van Zeek successfully subpoenaed the witness. The subpoena was delivered to the communication station where the man was immediately, my lord. However, the heavy rain has delayed the arrival of his carriage at the scene. I see. Let us turn our attention to Inspector Gregson's preface of the case heard by the court this morning. As soon as I drop a save, because this might get a little questionable. Declaring omission of the third bullet in your report is a serious blunder, Inspector. Yes, I can only apologize, my lord. Although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom.
It's a big mistake to cross Hurley and me. A very big mistake.
My lord, The subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building. Thank you, officer. Shown to the stand without delay. Mr. Eggert Benedict. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him so soon, and certainly not like this. Thank you for complying with the court subpoena at such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord, as an outstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now, kindly state your name and occupation for the record. Ashley Graydon, Communications Officer. Mr. Graydon and I both work at London's Central Communications Station. Now, perhaps some of you would kindly explain to me what this is all about. You were apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume? Yes, I was. Okay, so we finally got his name, right? Actually, oh, Graydon, not Grayson. Something to do with a murder that took place at a pawnbroker's on Baker Street. We have... And some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question. That is the accusation, indeed. This really is beyond a joke, you know. Very well. Without further delay, the court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You will respond to the accusation made against you under oath. Gladly, my lord, gladly. Witness testimony of the accusation. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time. Are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation. Even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene. Some Scaramouche detective's homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. So you deny the accusations completely, do you? I must say, I am dismayed. Will the highest court in the land to be swayed by this self-professed detective's toy? It was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury's will is upheld. Then it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. By golly! How long am I expected to be detained here? If following the defense's cross-examination your involvement in this matter has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately. Good. That I shall be away in time for afternoon tea. Some small consolation at least. Let us not hold up Mr. Graydon any longer than necessary, counsel. Proceed with the cross-examination. Again, Mr. Eggert Benedict. Or is it Mr. Graydon? My apologies, you are? Ryonosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. We have met. If you say so, Ashley Graydon, Enchante. So... I trust we can conclude this quickly. I'm not holding your flashy hat while we do. Okay, we did get all of our words right. Nice.
Hold it!
Yes, we've been in the very pawnbrokery where the crime took place on the afternoon on the day in question. Though, of course, you introduced yourself by a different name at the time. No was Mr. Egbert Benedict, I believe. Tell me, what made you... The witness here is to testify events that took place that night. He is under no obligation to answer such unrelated questions. You can't be serious. Thank you, because I certainly do not feel inclined to answer such an inappropriate question. It's going to be evasive, as you do not give anything away. This could be tricky.
Hold it!
Have you seen these two men before? This pair? No, I don't associate with criminals. Except my man who introduced himself as Egbert Benedict. I'd like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made this outlandish accusation against me? They are royal, they're black. This is a farce. Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in a British court anyway? Well, needless to say.
Hold it!
Where were you around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir? That's past the hour at which I would normally retire. Certainly. I was not in the company of these two rapscallions. You're able to prove that? No, the burden of proof is on me. Listen carefully, my large Nipponese friend, for you appear to be under gross misapprehension on this point. What do you mean? The witness maintains he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove his absence. Yeah, it's up to us to prove that he was that he was there. Which I guess we can do with the blood sample. If your accusation is that the witness was present at the scene, then the obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. You will fulfill that obligation while putting any more unreasonable requests to the witness. A silent victory wiggle, thanks.
Hold it!
Blood was found at the scene of the crime. There's no question of that. Mr. Strong's chemical analysis has positively identified the subjects as such. I'm not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be sure that the blood is mine? It could equally be the blood of one of these two miscreants. Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Sholmes' chemical is able to differentiate blood samples by spare me the science lesson. Who is this Sheldon Scouter anyway? Oh, I assume no Londoners would know the name. He's a great, well, a renowned detective. So even you are able to bring yourself to say great detective. A great detective, you say? No, we're in the realm of fairy tales, are we?
Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Skulkin?
What? Me?
No, the other Mr. Skulkin, that's to you. I know this sounds sarcastic, but I mean, really, the Mr. Taller Mr. Skulkin? Younger brother?
Right, I've had enough to deal with this. How many times do I gotta tell you?
Yes, I know, you're not Big Bruv Sulky. Mr. Nash Skulkin.
What blame Governor? What?
It's not the case that when Mr. Graydon just spoke about went through your mind. Did you get to share that thought with the court?
Any thoughts? No. It must have been him. You what?
Mr. Nash Skulkin, answer the question, please. What went through your mind when Mr. Graydon just spoke? Nothing. Honestly, I'm nothing. I was just thinking. If he weighs his arm around that much more, it'll open up the wound again, that's all.
What wound?
Where he took a bullet, of course. It was only 2 days ago. It ain't got to be healed up yet.
The wound where he took this bullet right here?
So I was, well, you know, I was worrying for him and... Oh, L's bells!
Mr. Great, did you hear that? What? Your comrade is worried about you, it seems. On account of your injured arm. My lord. Yes, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these 2 wretches are talking about. Certainly, I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless insinuations. We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. Perhaps you'd allow a court official to examine your arm, sir? The left arm you're currently clasping with your right hand as if it's in pain? No, I refuse. You have shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I'm not obliged to permit any such invasion of my privacy. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in all this. I've never had anything to do with the pawnbrokery where this fellow was killed whatsoever. We never said he was killed at the pawnbrokery, right? I take offense at the insinuation that I was in any way involved. You claim to have had nothing to do whatsoever with Mr. Winterbank's pawnbrokery. My lord, the defense would like that last statement to be added to Mr. Grayson's formal testimony. Very well, counsel. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Graydon. I don't have the picture of him being there, right? Oh, the disc, maybe? Let's... This is...
Hold it!
Never had anything to do with it. You forget that I was there, Mr. Graydon, on the very afternoon of the incident. Obviously, I'm not a complete stranger to the pawnbrokers. I'm currently on the lookout for an armchair to furnish my study.
Objection!
No, you were there to redeem an article. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Excuse me!
Do you have something to add, Inspector?
Come again, sunshine.
You were there too, in fact, weren't you, Inspector? That afternoon.
Oh yeah, I do remember meeting yourself in the pawnbrokers that afternoon. You and your Japanese assistant and the accused were all present, as I recall.
By the time, this witness, Mr. Graydon, was trying to acquire a particular article.
Well now. I'm afraid I don't remember too clearly. What do you mean you don't remember?
What? But you must.
I'm not going to lie and pretend I remember something that I don't.
What's going on here?
Actually showed us the picture before, didn't he? You know, from the cameras that Hurley installed in Winterbanks?
Yes, of course.
Indeed, and the gentleman pictured bears a striking resemblance to the witness, I must say. Exactly, which proves that Mr. Graydon was in the shop on the afternoon in question. At no point have I denied that fact. I merely entered the shop to peruse the articles on sale and have a word with the broker. Nothing more. This makes no sense. I understand why Mr. Graydon might be trying to cover his tracks. But why would Gregson be trying to avoid giving testimony about what happened? That's all I was going to say on the matter, isn't it?
What do you think right now?
I think he has no intention of telling us anything. He's well aware that the less he says, the less chance he has of giving himself away.
The complete opposite of Hurley then. He seems to think that the more he says, the better.
Well, at least I managed to prise a little more information from these witnesses' lips. Well, thanks to the Skulking Brothers.
Yes, I'm the key to it after all.
So since he had nothing to do with Windibanks, well, you know that's not true.
Guess that would be a good time to have a proper look through the court record.
Good idea. You never know what behind this cover information can become a valuable weapon. I'm gonna press
Hold
this
it!
one here as well. Don't forget, sir, Mr. Herlock Jones is the most famous detective in the world. And the most famous detective in the world tells the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I don't know, I can't think of how to answer that. Especially after we've had to correct him so many times. I'm not the world's most famous swindler thrown into jail. He allegedly told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. What turned out to be a pack of lies. Quite. Now, as you are no doubt aware, the Central Communication Station is the heart of this country's information network. My work there is of paramount importance, and you've kept me from it for far long enough already. Alright, I'm gonna save here. Because I don't know how long this is gonna go for. I'm gonna try objecting with the disc. Present a metal disc.
Objection!
Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Graydon? Why? Is it supposed to mean something? The disc was until the day of his murder in the pawn shop in Mr. Windibank's shop. It was retained by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, somebody mysteriously appeared to try to take it from her. And that somebody was you, of course, wasn't it, Mr. Graydon? As I have iterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That was not me. I've never seen that disc before in my life. It may have escaped your notice, but there's a small smear of blood on the disc. Yes, resulting from an abrasion of the thumb, perhaps. That's right. The surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny metal bumps. In the skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. So, while the disc bears the remnants of that skirmish in the form of this blood smear, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also, in the form of a scratch, or aka a cut. Good gracious, indeed it must. Mr. Graydon. You refused to allow a court officer to examine your arm before. You're now going to refuse to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt that there's a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc. Well. It would seem that I underestimated you. What is the meaning of this? So you admit it now. You admit you have a scratch on your thumb and from when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant? Order! Well, Mr. Graydon, it would appear there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc as you put it. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? It's really quite simple, you see. The disc was mine from the outset. Objection! For McGilded. Is there some crime in taking an item that you own out of pawn? What? It would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence, my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish. I'm quite sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with the pawnbroker's murder. Witness testimony. The disc. There's a note on the disc saying for McGilded, but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused at Filthy Guttering on the day in question. I proceeded to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. There's a small box as well. Did I hear you correctly, sir? McGilded, you say? The famous London philanthropist. Who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder? Yes, my lord, the one in the same. Good lord! Mr. Graydon! Are you saying that Mr. McGilded and yourself were acquainted? Yes, that's correct. Order! Well, certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again. According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in the pawn that fateful night 2 months ago. McGilded himself gave instructions to deposit it in window banks.
It's funny that Mr. Graydon here is claiming that this belongs to him then, isn't it?
In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that afternoon at window banks in order to get his hands on McGilded's disc for some reason. Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please.
Hold it!
Are you going to explain how this belongs to you? As you will observe, a communications officer such as myself commands a fine salary. You are certainly exquisitely dressed, sir. So you see, I have little need to make use of the services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties, having misplaced my purse whilst on an errand. This is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question. You claim that was your overcoat? Obviously, and in my haste I clean forgot that the music box disc was in its pocket. And yet there was a note on it that reads for McGilded. I'm a collector of rare and unusual music box music.
I first met Mr. McGildet at a gentleman's club in the city and was interested to discover that he shared my penchant in that area. So, the disc in question. It's a pre-production sample. I promised that Mr. McGill would hear it. But then you forgot. It was in the pocket of the overcoat that you were forced to pawn. Yes, exactly.
She didn't mention that in her testimony 2 months ago, did she?
No, because McGill had threatened her to keep her mouth shut, which means that if we dig too deeply here, it's going to expose Sheena's perjury.
Oh dear, this is complicated, isn't it?
Let's leave it alone for the time being. Pension ticket was stolen
Hold it!
by her on the day in question. So you're saying that Miss Lester had lifted the ticket from your pocket or bag? That's right, despite being mindful of danger when walking in the insalubrious areas her kind
Objection!
Miss Lester did no such thing. Well, of course you would take that stance, but the girl is a regular offender. You get into the pawnbroker that day for her with all the information you need to identify the defendant. Pardon me. You were looking for her. That's what brought you to Windibanks. To get your hands on McGilded's disc.
Objection!
My learned friend is a veritable font of nonsense. Nonsense? I concur with the prosecution. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear? Yes, my lord. Then I will continue with my testimony of what possible use it can be.
Hold it!
Have you ever been to Windibanks before? Only once for the purposes of pawning something, but like many, I enjoy browsing in such establishments. So when you noticed that the pickpocket had taken your ticket, you chased after her, is that correct? Yes, that's right. I didn't notice it first, of course, such as the art of the pick purse. When I did, I headed to the pawnbrokery at once, in order to reclaim my coat before the thief could. I was merely trying to recover what was rightfully mine in the first place. You can see what he likes because he knows we have no evidence to contradict him on this.
Hold it!
Yeah, so it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it? That's right. This was the very man. Apparently, the police are collecting anything that has a connection to this
right?
Gilded as evidence.
Excuse me!
Something wrong, Inspector? What do you mean? Last remark Mr. Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way. No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this, Inspector. What's Scotland Yard gathering Gilded's possessions? I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine. What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets? Yes, exactly. You should know all about that. I must be Gilded, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life, yet he had a dark side too. Where are you going with this, Van Zeeks? I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, are they? That's enough! Coppers like me have duties to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Duties confirmed by Lord Strongheart, I presume. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have a great faith in you, Inspector. The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're gonna need Lord Strongheart's paw print first. What's all this about? It's like there's something going on between Gregson and Lord Van Zeeks here.
Well, it would appear the inspector's revealed all he is at liberty to reveal. Mr. Graydon, let us return to your testimony.
Gladly, my lord.
Hold it!
Or perhaps you'd see something of value among the forfeited items. No, not at all. Oh. A value was brought by the police to assess everything in the shop. Without it, searching every article in the shelves was common or basic. It was common or gone and break up barack. In that case, it's clear that you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover Mr. McGilded's disc. Have you not been listening? Have you not been listening, ma'am? Even if I had wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that it had been seized by the police that afternoon. It was no more in the shop that night than I. As I keep saying, I simply had good reason to break in. So there's nothing of McGilded's left in the shop that night. Nothing this man might have been after. I wonder if that's really true. Let me save again.
If you have some evidence, then let him have it. I'm dying to see that everything really assured inspection of his crumble.
McGilded slipped the disc into his coat pocket and had it deposited in Windows. Then when he realized he was going to be arrested on suspicion of this murder, he threatened Gina and forced her to take the redemption ticket.
There's no doubt about it. That Mrs. Windows probably went teeth.
The police were previously after anything left behind by McGilded as well. That's why Inspector Grayson ended up taking the disc into custody that day.
He's being very strange about all this.
There must be a reason for that, I'm sure. I just don't know what it is. For now, I need to focus on disposing of the fact that Mr. Graydon is lying in his testimony. Alright, he says no reason. Alright, I'm gonna save here, and then we're going to try presenting. We're gonna present the other ticket for the bots. So fast running out of papers, and use anything. So this is reversed now. And because these two are a set, that should be what we need to prove that it's McGilded's. Oops.
Objection!
The disc was deposited at window banks on Madness McGilded's instructed. You knew that and you went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection!
Conjecture again, and in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness has no reason to visit the pawnbroker again that night.
Objection!
Sorry, my learned friend. But that's not true. What? Mr. McGilded had another article in Pawn at Windybanks. As this second pawnbroker's ticket proves. There were two articles belonging to Mr. McGilded in Windybank's pawnbrokery. The reason you broke into the shop last night was to recover the second. That night was to recover the second one. Together with your two accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. Oh! This is the second ticket, is it? What had the man deposited? The article description reads one small box. Rather vague description, it seems to me. Were you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket bots? I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article had been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There'd be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft. That's a good point. Indeed, the witness makes a solid argument.
So that means that for some reason, the Screaming Fellow needed the small bots that very night. Doesn't it? Also, the audio broke.
Objection!
It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Could you be a little less cryptic, Lord Van Zieks? I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. Why would he have needed it that night? In question, no small bots was taken from Bent's pawnbrokery. I'm also going to continue to save scum. And rest assured, the prosecution can prove it. What? Good gracious! Inspector, show the photographic prints to the court, if you please. Yes, sir. What prints? These prints were taken for one of the detective's security. These prints were taken for one of the detective's security cameras.
Oh, how does we get the recorders again?
These prints were taken from one of the security cameras. As previously explained, using this plan of the shop layout, the victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the counter where Mr. Winterbank received his customers, and the other was set to capture the shelves on which articles were placed for sale once forfeited. According to the information on this ticket, Mr. McGilded's small bots had been forfeited already. 2 days before the incident at 9 p.m. on the 13th of April, to be precise. Which means it would have been on the shelves of the forfeited items in the shop front. Now, what I have here is a print taken by one of the cameras 2 hours before the incident. That's 11 p.m. on 15th April. On April 15th. Small bots. A music bots. The victim certainly had a very full shop, it would appear. And then we have another print. This one was taken out 2 hours after the incident. I see. So we have 2 pictures to compare. I must say, placing them side by side leaves me cold. Can I get these in the court record so that we can do the stereoscopic thing? Because that's very clearly what they're wanting us to do here. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache. Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we considered that as one possible motive in this case. I explored every possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life. So you've been already compared the 2 prints thoroughly, Inspector. Yes, sir. We counted every single item in each of these 2 photographic prints. And the odds conclusion is that it's exactly the same number are present in both. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question, and my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy. Oh! Hey, did they look at it in stereoscopic mode? I don't believe it. I could have just assumed that he'd stolen Gilded's pawned bots. I might have been able to break him down at last.
You know what, Bruno? I've been thinking. I wonder if these two photographs really are exactly the same.
Oh, you know what? I can even see the slight difference here in the tea kettles. Like, this one's slightly more outward than that one. What? So, counsel, in the light of the new evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position? The defense requests to examine the evidence. It seems that, in fact, on the night in question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion? I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy in these two photographic prints somewhere? I'm going to use a piece of evidence. Before I give my answer, my lord, I'd like to try something, if I may. Try something? What do you mean, counsel? I'll need to use a certain piece of evidence from the court to identify the discrepancy. I'm not entirely sure I follow. Which piece of evidence do you intend to use to help you identify the discrepancy between the two prints? The stereoscope.
Take that!
I'd like to use this device, my lord, to view the two prints stereoscopically.
Oh! Yes, you've caught the bug at last. You can't resist it, can you? You've got the cross-eyed compulsion.
Juror number 3, what a surprise.
Come on, Bruno. Let's put the pictures in these and see what this wonderful contraption shows us. Here we go. Now look through the eyepiece.
Got it! I wasn't sure at first, but okay, I guess that wasn't moved. There's a clear discrepancy between these two photos. There is a clear discrepancy between these two photos. What? What? You must identify the location of the in question for the court, counsel. Indicate the precise location of the discrepancy in which you speak.
Take that!
Granted, these two prints are almost identical. However, there's one minor discrepancy between them. What? When you view the two pictures stereoscopically, a single area stands out as being different. The location of this small box. Yeah, that's the small box that I was like, ooh, that's interesting. Wait. Unbelievable. By Jove, you're right. How extraordinary. What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilded's small box was indeed not stolen from Mr. Windibank's on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves. Are you suggesting that the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilded is in fact... Yes, the very same small bots I just identified in those photographic prints.
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a small box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen, which means quite simply that nothing has changed. That may be true, but... Gilded's bots wasn't stolen then. But doesn't the fact that it was moved like that change things? It changes everything. Because there was stuff inside the bots that was stolen, right? I believe this changes everything about the case. How could that possibly be? And the crucial point is the fact that what was moved... that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside that box. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Windibanks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little bots belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial. The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Van Zeeks. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once. Nice. Obtain the small bots in question and bring it back here for further examination. We should have our report within half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while until the evidence is brought forth. To be hoodwinked by some farce. Disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Van Zeeks? This is nothing but a smokescreen, a Nipponese specialty, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning, that this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Exactly. It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGilded perished 2 months ago immediately after the conclusion of his trial. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established he was the upstanding member of society's reputation implied, in fact. So I propose a toast to my learned friend at his most insightful defense. The articles this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box and disc in one of its pockets and a small box. I assure you I wouldn't accept it, even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me. Didn't you just say that you were gonna give him a disc? You know, that makes sense. It's also this older jewels, though. Goodness, Mr. McGill. But you can't deposit cash at a pawn, right? Brokery. The prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling. It is incumbent on the defense now to bolster its argument. Possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have. Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstrable? acquittal due to insufficient evidence. Able to show proof that the Discord bots are in any tangible way related to this case. Yeah, the bloody fingerprint of Mr. Mason's. Well,
What's the matter, man? We know that they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence.
yes, of course. You and I both know that. We know Mr. McGill is your character, and we know the disc is significant even if we don't know why. Also, the audio definitely broke right there. What the hell? If we explain all that to the court at this point, what I know is that McGilded's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. But the defense's argument is flawed based on false information.
Oh no!
And that would mean that Gina committed perjury.
Dude.
Peter Van Zeeks knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he anticipated everything?
But maybe... This could be a great opportunity for us.
Sorry? What do you mean, Iris?
Well, what is it that you always say, right? Surely the truth comes out every time.
Alright, the exact significance of the things that Mr. McGilded deposited with Windibank? I'm gonna save here again. I'm sorry, but something only Gina can explain to the court. If I put her on the stand to testify about that, it critically damage our chances of winning this case. What's the right thing to do here? Gina, you're up. My lord, the defense would like to make a proposal. Oh, what proposal, counsel? While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGilded's small bots, I'd like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand. The defendant? To what end? It's to do with the various articles deposited in Windibanks by Mr. McGilded, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. And prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Well, things are becoming interesting. I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. In particular, the impact it will have on the accused's standing, and indeed your own. I have. Lord Van Zeeks, would you care to explain that last remark? The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused herself. Very well, if you have no objection. So, the court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. You witnesses currently in the stand may step down until further notice. And I shall bid you good day. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies. As you wish. Alright then, Gina. It's time. And this will be hard. Please, put your faith in me here.
Good luck, Reno.
The articles that Mr. McGilded deposited in Windibank's phone are intimately related to the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in this courtroom 2 months ago. Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well. Oh, sorry, my lord. Also, the audio broke again. I guess if it's solved, question mark? I'm gonna reset it anyway. Her testimony has helped establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGilded. This case was intriguing, to say the least. And now here we are, Lord, the same players in that trial, facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other passenger in the carriage, Mr. McGilded. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. As the trial progressed, another possibility emerged. That the murder, in fact, was above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body then being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage. I was hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. And then, immediately after the trial, having been acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGilded died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on. As indeed the omnibus murder. As indeed does the omnibus murder itself. Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor the small box being mentioned in the court course of those proceedings. Miss Lestrade. Would you tell the court now, please? What really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago?
I don't know what you mean. I already said all what I know.
And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Please, Miss Lestrade. This is extremely important.
But...
If it transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. And naturally, you'll lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face the facts, you have little credibility to lose.
Jimmy, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Rudo now. Iris? We're on your side. Alright then. I'll talk.
It's the right choice, Gina. Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom about his ears. Down about his ears, so be it. I must confess that I'm struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. Also, I messed up greatly because I saved over slot 19 after I made the big decision of making her testify or leaving it be, but I think if I left it be, she would just be found guilty anyway. However, it would appear that Mr. McGilded's pawned articles and that extraordinary case of the omnibus harbor secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. So, Miss Lestrade, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements. This is it, then. Everything's going to come out. Like Van Zeke said. This could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears, but as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. real truth of the omnibus case.
Truth is, a bootmaker car was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. The Irishman dragged me out from under the seat. I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over the air, then that pound the roof. And Deck went to call the slops. That's when McGilded the driver some tin to do a run to the punch up roundabout. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I had seen or heard.
Good grief, this is outrageous. What you've just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago. As you say, my lord. Then there's every chance I may have agitated an error in McGilded's trial. It sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes. Without doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial, this witness, and of my learned friend are entirely inexcusable.
I don't believe it. The whole trial was a farce. It was all lies.
And the killed fellow was run to the court, just like that pickpocket.
Don't forget the lawyer from the east. They're all in on it together. You're wrong, the lot of you. Mr. Naruto, the lawyer there, he didn't know nothing about it.
Humbug.
I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that?
He stitched everyone up, didn't he? Basically, the man off scot-free.
Unforgivable. Stop. The lies have to stop. Stop.
Yes, the defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of McGilded's pawned articles must be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Given the depths of calamity you have just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing. Words fail. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Hey, I had nothing. Hey, like Gina said, I had nothing to do with it. With the murder. Of course, my lord.
Blimey, Mr. Naruto.
Now, counsel, proceed with cross-examination. The whole time. And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats.
Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all.
Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, you were certain you claimed Mr. McGilded was the sole passenger, did you not? False testimony, my lord.
That's what he told me I had to say.
But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilded and the victim acquaintances?
I don't know. I didn't hear him talking a lot.
What are they talking about?
I couldn't hear too well, but I had to say. I think it was about money or something. He kept talking about buying and not buying.
Perhaps business dealings of some kind.
Anyway, they got louder and louder, and it started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe. Then all of a sudden, it's like someone keeled over on the floor. It was going loud and all.
I believe you let out an involuntary scream.
Yeah, that's what gave me away.
Hold it!
Was the disc you saw this disc?
Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It was right next to the cove laying on the floor.
Could this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps?
I don't know, but McGilly picked it up pretty smartish. And then he set with the cove with the he set the cove with the knife in his belly up on the seat.
What did he say to you at that time?
He told me not to say a word about what I seen to no one. About the disc and all. I was dead scared. There was no way he was looking at me, I thought. If I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. He started asking me a lot of questions. About what my name was and where I lived and that. He asked me about being a diver too.
After a while, what had happened, had happened in the carriage was noticed.
Yeah, that's right. First there was kind of a rapping noise.
Hold it!
Scream. Those were two gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe.
That's right. I must look down to the skylight and notice the cove with the knife in each got. I screamed and the driver pulled over the horses and Gilda got me out of sight.
Out of sight? Where?
Back on the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to an halt. Once the carriage came to a halt, they took those from the roof and ran off to fetch the stops.
If they immediately went to fetch the police, it would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So that left Gilded, the driver, and you still at the scene.
Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside.
The driver, yes. He also testified in the trial, I believe. A fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves. What did Gilded and the driver say to each other?
I don't know what happened and stuff like that mainly.
So the drivers intend to
Hold it!
that pawn shop obviously being Windabates on Baker Street. Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well? Perhaps it's crashed into the pawnbroker slipped his mind when he was in the stand. Indeed, Lord by the Zeeks.
McGill took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up all careful like and winding it over. When I saw that, I remember thinking, that coat and what's seen it's gotta be worth a few bob.
Yes, I'm sure that this must be worth more than Mr. Windbank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember quibbling with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery.
The driver looked very happy when McGill flashing some brass in his face. He went running off in a lick. Then the box trotter called to me and told me to come out for the drugged's cabin.
He threatened me not to snitch.
Hold it!
Threatened you how exactly?
Told me I wouldn't be able to scoff while if I did exactly what he said.
To include me giving false testimony in court 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said.
Which was...
He told me I had to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it.
a ticket? Well, I never.
He said that if he didn't show to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I had to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in lug, to stop it being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it.
But really, I don't know if Mr. McGilded had done such a thing. Depositing his overcoat with the pawnbroker before the arrival of police makes no sense at all. There would seem to be only one logical explanation for it. Well, McGilded had the driver deposit The driver deposit the window mess is something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs.
Anyway, after that, he let me go, so I left it before the coppers showed up.
Well done, Gina. It can't have been easy to tell the truth like that.
Gina's really thinking you know.
Yes, and to thank her, she'll have to face a charge of perjury once this trial is over. So we need to use the time we have now to get as much information out of her as possible.
Gina really go for it. Press her on every statement.
I suppose I should.
Oh, and another thing.
What's that?
Take a look at those two. Isn't it strange that they've been whispering to each other this entire time?
Yes, that is strange. It's like they're having a secret discussion about something. I'm not sure I'm completely comfortable with that. I wonder if there's anything I can do about it.
Hold it! Excuse me.
Is there something you'd like to share with the court, Inspector Grayson and Mr. Graydon? Inspector! Mr. Graydon! Wah! Blind me! You're trying to give me a heart attack? You've been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? Discussion? With this fella? Pull the other one, sunshine. And you think you're gonna talk about this straight gent like this? And I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine. But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's almost as if they've been negotiating. Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough. And I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus. It would appear that on that night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. The negotiation concerning this disc, however, matters did not run smoothly. The parties involved began to quarrel over a price. McGillicuddy took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proves my point. This disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way. Don't know anything about the bots, though. I don't understand why as yet. And 2 days ago, precisely the month after the omnibus incident, McGillicuddy's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited.
I don't know why I should do with the ticket. I mean, the coat died right after his trial. I knew that.
So you decided you would try to claim the articles as your own.
Well, why not, eh? They're only gonna be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have gotten them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime.
Miss Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGillicuddy was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be? The contents on it are probably extremely... Well, the contents on it are... It's... probably has something to do with the government secrets being leaked to foreign agents.
I ain't got no clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He was probably gonna sell it. You can't blame me for thinking that. I think it ain't no crime.
My lord! The evidence your lordship has requested has been located and is ready for the court's inspection, sir. mysterious little boss that possibly might have been gilded 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that it's a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. To be continued. Probably the last video next time on YouTube, on stream. We're in it for the long haul. Like we're finishing the game tonight. So, YouTube, I'll see you all. I think this one will go live on the this one should go live on the 25th. And the next one will be should hopefully be the last one. So yeah, I'll see you. I'll go ahead and save real quick. I'm clicking on OBS like an idiot. Alright. Trial Part 4. Wow. Alright, yeah. So, see you all in the next one, YouTube. Later.